Hello YouTube, Adam here. It's been a bit since I've played any Space Engineers, but I have been working on stuff. Well, it's been a while since I recorded. I've been working on stuff. I got my docking bay here. Well, it's a landing pad, I suppose, more than a docking bay, but it's more or less set up the way that I want now. I need to finish it, obviously. I've been doing a lot of mining. I get ridiculous amounts of ore. This is all under construction. Oh my god, that is loud. This is all still getting refined. I'm not really going to do a base tour yet because it's not done, but um, what I've been doing is I got the Venture out there in the field mining ridiculous amounts, several million kilograms, like 3 or 4 million kilograms at a time, which isn't like a huge amount, but it's definitely enough. I'm working on like a little thing in the hangar bay and stuff too, so all my ships are kind of scattered about, but we're gonna go over to the Venture and see how the mining is going over there. It's this little scout ship that I built to run around in. I actually need to put an ore detector on it so I can station one of these with the big ship so that it doesn't have to move around so much, so I can more accurately pinpoint the exact location of ore that I'm after. But yeah, this ship has been working out pretty well. I've done a lot of work on it. It still needs the upper decks fitted, so there's still work to be done as always. I play in realistic mode because I just find it more rewarding, and I don't go into creative or anything to build these. So it is time consuming, but it's sort of meditative at the same time. I just throw on like a podcast or something and go to town. But let's get the lights on here so we can do a little flyby of the ship while we're out here. Alright, so this ship does not have very good side-to-side thrust. Basically, that's how long it's going to end up being. I put some stuff around the thrusters and the fuel tanks there just to kind of give it a little more finished look. Of course, these are all exposed in real life. That would probably not be the best idea because it is a lot of hydrogen, and if something were to like shoot it, it would probably just explode. But there's nothing here to really shoot at us as far as I know. Anyway, I've thought about putting some pirate bases off in the distance just so there's a little bit more to do. But yeah, this thing makes some pretty deep holes. This is only 2 pistons down because there's really no point out on this ice field of going any further down. But I can go down 4 pistons deep, which leads to a hole like this. Let's actually get out and take a look at this on foot. But you can kind of see how the resources are distributed here on the ice field. They're just in these bands. So obviously we take the ice for refueling the hydrogen thrusters. I need to put more oxygen generators on board so it can do that a little bit more quickly. But just this rotor just goes down and scoops everything up. I usually go down 2 full piston extensions. I haven't automated it yet. I am going to automate the piston advancing and stuff. Right now I've been dealing with it manually. But as you can see, we can get down a lot farther if we have a reason to. Now, on the ice, there's really nothing here, but up in some of the mountains, I have seen a few things way down deep. So let's get back up on board the ship here. I think I left the hangar bay open when I left. This doesn't have sensors that open it automatically or anything yet, so... Oh god, side-to-side thrust. Come on. Might want to throw another thruster or 2 on this, because I kind of like its driftiness, but it gets to be a bit much sometimes. Oops. A little hard to judge the depth there. Alright, so inside, this has not been finished yet, but we do have, I'm not going to do a deck-by-deck tour right now. The engine room is there. If we go towards the rear, there are these areas here where we can access the hydrogen if we need to. I kind of like to leave maintenance tunnels for things just because it's a lot simpler if I need to fix something in the old cargo bay. And if we go, oops, wrong way. Go down a level here. There's like a little mess area with some nice observation windows. All the stone that gets thrown from those ejectors up above falls down on the roof of this, and you can watch it. So it's kind of neat. Oh yeah, there's a, I put in a head. There's really no reason to have it, but it's kind of nice to have a bathroom. Makes it a little more realistic. Probably do that on all my ships. And this is the observation drilling deck as before. Let's get some lights on here so we can see a little bit better what we're doing. Now, basically, it works exactly the same way as it used to. Hopefully, I do have to save a lot and go to backup files because it has a potential. Anytime you're working with rotors and pistons and anything like that, it has a potential to go very, very, very wrong, and it often does. But it generally works pretty well. There was a time you would not even dream of doing something like this because it would just explode instantly. But see, I use the safety locks a lot because that really helps stabilize things. This is the part I need to get a lot of timer blocks going on so I can kind of automate that. But it's just gonna do its thing as before, works as good as ever. It collects ridiculous amounts of ice. It actually collects too much ice for its own good. The cargo containers will just fill up with ice, and there'll be very little room for anything else depending on where we land. And that can be a problem. See, we already have 1 million there. Let's just see how much ice we have just from those couple layers. And it's been refilling its hydrogen tanks. It's probably actually full by now. Oh, that's only like 1 million. But yeah, the hydrogen tanks are full at this point. Oh god, the sound gets so glitchy in this game sometimes. But yeah, the hydrogen tanks are already full, so that means we need to build some sort of a ferry shuttle thing that can transport the extra ore back. The ramp was already down, damn it. It's kind of terrifying to be down in one of these holes when it's going, but yeah, that's it doing its thing. I have not been able to get much more than iron and nickel and some silicon and that sort of stuff because that's what's out here on the ice. I tried mining on the side of a mountain, but with all 4 pistons extended, I barely got any uranium still. It was so far underground, so a lot of work left to be done to figure that out. Uranium is one of those things though, like once you get a little bit, it kind of goes a long way, so I don't know. I kind of wish this was like a little bit longer. It just looks a little stubby, but I don't know. I feel like once I get this thing fully outfitted and everything, it'll be pretty decent. I don't want to get it too much bigger because it weighs about 1.3 million kilograms empty as it is right now, and it has a carrying capacity of about 5.5 to 6 million that it can make back to the base. Anything heavier than that, it just can't lift it. So that's why I'm kind of thinking I need to build some sort of thing to come out here and ferry some of that extra ice back so that for some of our ships that are actually going to go to space, we're going to need to have some sort of a cargo lifter shuttle thing. And that's going to be probably primarily hydrogen powered as well. So that's something to think about. And anyway, I just wanted to do this. This is going to be a pretty short video, only like 10 minutes or so, just to let you know I am working on Space Engineers. I am going to be working on getting some more stuff done on my base, and I will show that in the... Ow, I just killed myself. That was real smart. I don't have a medical bay on this either. I don't know how I landed that hard. That kind of sucks. My stuff is out there. But, I probably don't have enough hydrogen to fly all the way out there on my own either, but I don't really want to bring another ship because then I just end up with a billion ships out there. But, what was I going to say? Yeah, I think I'm going to, really just focus on finishing this ship up because I get a little scattershot in this game. It's real easy to just do 15 things at once and not really finish any of them. We might as well check this out on the way. They added these probe things that come down and give you kind of silly cosmetic loot. I have not seen anything useful. There are sometimes there, I mean, there is a cargo container probably on this thing, and there'll be like a little bit of some sort of resource in a little cargo container. Oh, that one's kind of cool looking. What do we get? See a helmet. Is it going to self-destruct? They self-destruct sometimes. I think that's when the timer runs out. I'm not sure if that will happen once I've recovered it. Well, we're out of hydrogen, so I guess I'm hoofing it. But, yeah, I think I'm going to end it here pretty much for today. I'm going to finish up this mining here, get a bunch more iron, haul it back. Actually, I'll do the mining and then I'll end the episode. I'll cut to flying this thing back to base, I think, so you can get an idea of how that works. So I'm going to go gather this iron, and then we will get her in the air. This part's fun. Watch them go. Fly, my pretties. It's kind of funny. It's like a little migration herd. Yeah, I ran into some rock apparently and is ejecting it. I put heavy armor up where the actual ejector part is, just so that when it's hitting that steel, hopefully it doesn't dent it. I have not really put that into practice. It is noisy near those drills. I have headphones on. I don't usually play with the headset on. My God, the mixing in this game is kind of crazy. I mean, it is a giant mining machine. You expect it to be kind of noisy, but at the same time, let's see this. What is this called on a ship? Like a forecastle? I don't remember. Like, this part is not complete yet. I have a lot of revamping. I'm actually going to be probably stripping these solar panels off and moving stuff around and all that. But I don't know why, but I find ejectors to be just one of the most fun things ever. They just dribble off the back. Kind of looks like there's some cobalt or magnesium or something like that down below that iron. To see if I can find an oxygen tank on here. I mean, a hydrogen tank. I think I have one on board. We'll try to check out what that is if I can. Need to outfit like a little landing party zone here. The ship has no assemblers or anything on board. I'm trying to keep that kind of weight down. So we only have what we take with us as far as completed items go. Keep the ramp being here keeps us from having to walk out underneath that. How is that heavy armor holding up? It should be fine, right? Yeah, it looks like it. Alright. Let's go see if we can figure out what that is. I don't have a drill with me, but from in the ship, it looks like there's something blue right there. It's kind of weird. Kind of looks like we're missing most of the iron vein here, though. It's unfortunate. And it's not a pleasant sight down here. Alright, well, I started extending the third piston because from here it does look like there's something down there. Let's see here. I have an ore detector on here. It's probably that cobalt. It does look like cobalt. So I'm going to go down probably with the third piston here all the way just to make sure we get something out of this, because we basically skirted the exact edge of that iron deposit and only got about 60k. So that's not a super great thing for this trip, although we do need the ice for the base. We can drop that stuff off. That will be good at least. But yeah, it looks like we are getting into some sort of deposit here. Probably, like I said, I'm having to do all this manually until I get timers and buttons and stuff going, but I'll figure that stuff out later. For now, this isn't that much work to do. Let's see if we can actually start getting some of that cobalt. I go in 2-meter increments pretty much because it's not too hard on the drill. Yeah, cobalt, cool. So we'll have something out of all of this then. I'm gonna see how deep this vein goes. Alright, so I ended up fully extending 3 pistons, so that was deeper than we've had to do out here on the ice before, so it's good that that worked out, and I'm just gonna start retracting stuff. It is a sort of involved process because the rotors need to be aligned correctly before I can get the last piston where it needs to be. Otherwise, it will collide, not can. It will collide with the engines because it's wider than the spacing between the engines. So all we do here is set the limits to 0 and 0 and let it just swing back around, and then I'll lock it when it's in position and just keep on working on retracting those pistons and getting this thing ready to head home. How much ore did we end up getting here? Let's see here. Cargo. So we got about 1,000,000 kilograms of cobalt. I have no idea what I'll ever do with that much cobalt, but I guess I won't need cobalt for a while. So that's something. I'm going to turn those drills off since I don't know, I always find there to be something kind of pretty about the piston pulling up while the thing's rotating. It's too bad these things are, I mean, they're pretty reliable compared to how they used to be, but it's too bad they're still a little bit iffy just because machines like this are fun. Sounds like that piston finished up. Alright, so let's actually, before we head out, while that's still realigning, let's go take a look at the damage down here. So as you can see, the cobalt does the exact same thing as the iron. It seems like everything on planets is just in these little strips, which is kind of annoying when you're trying to mine with a conventional mining ship like my small one that I have back at base. I still need that to get uranium and stuff, and I'll probably actually take it over here once in a while just to clean up some of these corners of stuff I missed. But a mining ship like this one works pretty ideally for this, and it makes pretty quick work of it. Once I get the timing blocks and everything working, it will just, you know, go down to I'll probably set it to 20 meters as the default, because usually we're not going to be going down this far to get some cobalt and stuff, but it really strips out these areas pretty quick. I mean, this is a pretty gigantic hole. If you're actually wanting to build a base in a missile silo kind of thing, it wouldn't be a bad way to do that either. But it's weird to me looking at this thing because the central core is still the original station that I built as a proof of concept. So the ship is old at this point. It's been around. Alright, let's finish stowing this thing and get our flight prep done here. Now, it's going to be kind of heavy at this point because 3 cargo containers are completely full. We have all of the hydrogen that can be converted has been converted. Alright, so rotor. Let's lock that bad boy and retract the final piston. And once we can do the safety lock on that, I'm not going to do it beforehand, I'll disengage the landing gear and see how much this actually weighs at this point. I have a feeling it's probably in the neighborhood of 5 billion kilograms or so with the stuff we have in the cargo bay, which should be within its safe flight envelope. It's pretty efficient flying when it's mostly empty, but it's kind of a hog once it's full up. I thought about putting some atmospheric thrusters on, but then I just get into having to add a bunch of reactors to keep everything going, and it just kind of seems simpler to keep this relatively short range. It can refuel on the way to somewhere. If we're like heading out somewhere out there, it can just refuel on the way. So as long as we get enough crew capacity, crew quarters and stuff like that. So we're under 5 million kilograms, so that's not too bad. Let's fire up thrusters. And she's a bit of a hog here, but not too bad. Now the landing pad that I've constructed over there is pretty much purpose built. Well, it is completely purpose built for this ship. I'm going to probably do that with all of my large ships. There's certain things I didn't want to dock this with like an extendable piston or something like that to the base because I've had bad experiences trying to use extended pistons with connectors. They just seem to explode a lot, so I didn't feel like that was probably a prudent thing to do because all of my ships are going to be at this one place a lot of the time. Like all my little ships are in the hangar of the base, my big ships will be parked here, so having stuff explode in like ridiculous fashion is not exactly an ideal circumstance. So I'm going to try to keep it simple. I just use some ejectors up front with those collectors that are part of the base to unload cargo. It also makes sure that I can kind of control what gets unloaded and how, because I'm going to let this fill all the way back up to 100% before I dump the ice off hydrogen. So, alright, we could use some braking here, ship. Pull up. Pull up. Okay. So, unfortunately, I don't have a real cockpit. I just have this... Well, I mean, it is a real cockpit, I suppose, but the view down here is not the best from inside of the ship. Big ships are just kind of difficult anyway, I think. So, man, the sound just keeps like making crazy noises. I think I'm having some sound errors, actually. I'm not hearing the ship at all. It might be too far away. Is that the problem? No, I don't know what's happening. I'm not getting any thruster noise. So, I have those green pads, as you can see down there. Those are just outlines. The middle part is blast shields, blast doors. That way, if we hit a little bit hard, it hopefully won't just distort and let me fall through. It should be able to withstand a little bit more of a beating and all that. I would like to connect that back part just so it's all part of the same base, where the two back feet go. But I kind of noticed that, you know, the hydrogen thrusters are close to the ground. Oh, there's silicon under my base somewhere? No, it's near my base. And I don't want to be blasting metal scraps everywhere all the time, so let's turn off these lights so I can see based on the thruster downwash a little bit better how we're lining up. So as you can see, we used about half of our fuel just getting this back. So I might build a longer range let's do some long range upgrading to this so that it can go a little bit farther. Alright, our alignment is pretty close here. I always get nervous moving big things like this around. The sun is actually helping a lot because I get a good shadow. I think that's what the Apollo astronauts actually used, was the shadow of the lander. So keeping fine space. Oh god, I didn't want to jump out. I was trying to scooch over just a hair here. All right, let's make sure we're all the way down. Thrusters off and contact. Cool. So we landed nice and safe. Everything is good to go here. So I'm gonna let it process that the ice into hydrogen. Before we do that, though, let's find. I need to fix all my groupings here. I'm still adding things to these ejectors and sorters and stuff. Let's add cobalt to that list so that it will eject the cobalt for us. I'm making it a whitelist just because it's simpler. That way I just add the things that I want and I can actually have a lot of control over what gets added and ejected this way. Alright, so that's everything good to go. Let's unload this bad boy. And for some reason, I must not have hooked up the ones on the starboard side, I guess. But it's pretty fun. It just drops the giant stones down. There's heavy armor outlining all that stuff down there, so hopefully I was having problems with it getting damaged, but hopefully that will stop happening now that we have the heavy armor blocks down there. Oh god, going a little fast forward there. Yep, so it did damage the blocks. That's a pain. Oh well, just par for the course, I guess, if you don't get that properly lined up. I might want to add like 2 more on either side just so this is a little bit wider of a target or something. But anyway, I will be back next time. I think we're going to try to get this thing into space just to see if it's capable. I'd like to have something that can make it to space. And we haven't been to space in a long time since we crashed, so it'd be good to get back to space, I think. So anyway, thanks for watching. I will catch you next time.